Okay guys, we got a good one for you today. We have the 2017 Toyota RAV4. We're going to be changing the rear wheel bearing today. I just want to give you guys a quick look at some of the tools you're going to need. You may need this specialty tool from AutoZone. You get the slide hammer and the axle. They come separate now. Breaker bar. If you don't have an impact, you're going to need a breaker bar with a pipe at the end of it. Or if you could have an impact, that's even better. You're going to need, of course, the wheel bearing. I got this. This is an aftermarket one, SKF wheel bearing. We're going to see how that works. And also too, you're going to need, this is the specialty. You're going to have to either order this from Home Depot or Amazon most likely, but this is a 30 millimeter 12-point socket. And I can have the impact one for it too, for the impact. But you're going to need that, and also, of course, you want to have at least a couple of extensions with you, and some anti-seize, and the chisel set. I got that from Pittsburgh. We'll see what we're using that for later, and of course, caliper holders. So, and we're going to get into it. Of course, you're going to need, a 14 millimeter socket. And you're going to need 17 millimeter sockets for the brakes and for the wheel bearing. So we're going to get into it, and hope you enjoy. Okay, so first thing you want to do is kind of hammer this. This is your axle nut. It's onto your axle. They hammer this little part down in order to keep it from falling off. So you're going to stick your chisel in there a little bit and just give it a couple of taps to just lift it up off of it a little bit. You'll see exactly what it is once you take a look at it. But you're just gonna give it a couple of taps, trying to lift it up a little bit, just like that. If you're using the breaker bar to get this axle nut loose, you can actually do it while it's still on the ground so that it's not rocking back and forth. So you can just take your breaker bar, grab a pipe. You're gonna need a pipe, around about 3 feet, and you're gonna wanna just slowly break that thing. Take your time. And use that, just like that. I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of PB Blaster just to help it loosen up a little bit. A couple squirts. Okay guys, switching gears, I'm gonna simply impact it off, and then once it's off, we're gonna just put it back on for now, not to completely leave it off. So we'll see how this goes. Guys, that actually definitely works. Yep, see, it's nice and loose now. I'm gonna just switch it back around and just make sure it's tight back on. Just for a quick moment, boom. All right, so we know that's broken loose, and that's not nothing we have to worry about. So now basically you're gonna just chock the wheels. Do not put the e-brake on, because when you're doing your rear brakes, you don't want the e-brake on, because it's gonna be hard to get the rotor off. So now basically I'm gonna just get it on jack stand, and then get right back to you guys. All right. So now that we have the vehicle safely secured on jack stands and with the jack, we can just take our 21 millimeter impact and just simply take the wheel lug nuts off, like so. Okay guys, so now we're at the step where we have the wheel off, and I have my pry bar, and then basically what I'm gonna do is just compress the piston just a little bit. You put the piston, you put the pry bar in between the rotor and the brake pad, and just push on it a little bit and make it compress. Okay, so in the process of taking the 17 millimeter caliper bolts off, the best way they're going to be able to do it is to just put this wrench on here, 17 millimeter wrench, because those suckers are tight. So the way I'm getting it off and it's turning now is I'm just hitting it with the 3-pound hammer. You got to give it a couple of sharp taps, and it'll start to turn. So as you're taking that last bolt off, make sure you support it, because it will fall. And then you're gonna I already have my caliper thing set up over here, and just gonna take this, finagle it right off, and then just kind of find a little bit of a spot, a little bit of a wedge to get it in there, and just simply hang it on that coil spring in the back. Okay, so next you have to get the speed sensor out. We're coming from the, after removing the caliper, of course, and I hope you can see that there. You got it's going to be a 10 millimeter.
pipe had to put an extension on it to make it a little bit easier for you, but it actually breaking apart really easily. Look at that, just turns. So you're gonna take that off. And make sure you don't lose that. And this thing can be a little stiff. I think I'm gonna put some PB Blaster on it. And okay, guys, so it's starting to loosen up a little bit. I'm just grabbing a pair of channel lock pliers and just you gotta just work it out slowly. Take your time. It's plastic, it will break. Please just take your time. And look, it came out. Take your time. A little bit of rust penetrant, save the day. Okay, so now it's time to take the rotor off. This is the bolts they talk about, the M8 1.25 bolt. You can buy them at the hardware store, Harbor Freight, Amazon, wherever you want to bring it. You screw them into these two holes, it will pop it right off. Otherwise, you'll be kind of struggling with the dead blow. Now we're gonna go to our axle nut where we already pre-loosened it when it was on the ground, which is excellent. So now we get to just simply take it off. Okay, guys, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna spray your rust penetrant all up in here, and that'll start to loosen up. Let it sit for a few minutes, and then you're gonna grab a punch like so, hammer, and just hammer it a little bit until it, starts to move. You gotta make sure that this is loose, or it won't come out. You wanna make sure it's not seized. So you're just gonna hit this a couple of times. See, it's moving just a little bit. That's all you need to do. So I'm gonna attempt to show you the best I can about there's 4 wheel bearing screws for the actual hub, and they're like behind here. There's 4 of them. There's one right underneath here. You're really not gonna be able to see it too much, but there's one, one here, and there's also one over here and down there. You have to really kind of go by the feel. If you're not advanced and kind of can go by the feel of things, it's gonna be difficult for you, but it's gonna be a lot of going by the feel in here. So I'm gonna show you one. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple of quick tips on this. Hope you can see. This side over here is easy to get to these 2 bolts. Very easy. These are a little bit more difficult on the right side. Literally, to get all 4 bolts off though, all you're gonna need is, I have a 3/8 adjustable wrench with a long, 14mm socket. The hardest one to get to is gonna be the bottom one on the right. To get to it, trick here is to slide this right in here. And you're gonna finagle just like that, and eventually you're gonna find it that how to wedge it on there, get it tight, and you're gonna just get it done. I'm not gonna lie, this bolt was the tightest out of all the bolts. None of the bolts were really super tight, but for some reason the one that was hardest to get to, the bottom right, was super tight. I really had to find some leverage and get in there. I really was tried extensions through here like I saw in a couple videos, but it just doesn't work, and it actually was a lot harder, especially since we're on the ground. This is why you guys need to subscribe to my channel too. I'm gonna show you another little tip right here. You can use this. I'm not gonna lie, putting your fingers in here is even hard. You can just use the magnetic holder here and stick it in there and just get in there and just screw it, take it right out, and it's just a lot easier. Okay, guys, now we get to the fun part where you start to try multiple methods to get this thing out. We already took all the bolts out, the 14mm in the back. You take this, you can get this little slide hammer from AutoZone, and you can return it. You don't need this tool all the time, and you just put your lug nuts here, and there. You just screw it on tight, make sure it's a little bit snug, and then after that, you're basically just gonna take this slide hammer and you're gonna kind of just go for it. This is in real time, guys. I mean, first shot, wow. Just wow, y'all saw that. Okay, guys, so now here's the fun part. Let's compare the old one to the new one. I don't know if you can see that. I mean, yeah. Okay, we're back. We're just gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on the mounting, where the plate's at, and a couple little spots that we can. Not gonna try to overdo it. Now just a little bit of grease. Don't want to overdo it. Just put a little bit on your finger and just getting it in there a little bit, working it in there. I don't have high temperature grease on me. This is general grease. Okay, so you put the shiny new one back on. It's pretty self-explanatory. and then you put the bolts back on. You could get the torque wrench. I'll put the torque specs back up later. I'm not going to use the torque wrench because the spikes are just so tight. Just do it by the feel. You're basically going to do alternating, so I'll show you on the old one. So and keep in mind too that you see how this is a little bit wider than these ones, so that one, you know, should be on the top. So just make sure that fits up, you line it up properly, or you're gonna be like, what's going on? So this top part is a little bit wider than these, you know, the diameter here is a little bit smaller. So just do that, and then when you tighten this down in the back, just alternate. So it's gonna be like tighten up here, tighten up there, tighten up there, tighten up here. And then when you do your final torque down, do the same thing. Alternate here, here, there, there. That way it comes on nice and flush and smooth, and you don't have any problems. Okay, so now we're putting the speed sensor back in. Make sure you clean the area a little bit. I cleaned a little bit in the hole in the mating surface. You're just gonna simply pop it right back in and start it by hand. This is gonna be no torque spec. You're just gonna snug it up. And I mean, I would say hand tight, but just get it in there and just make sure it's not turning anymore. And you're good after that. Get in there, and that should be it. That's it. You don't need to do nothing crazy here at all. Just stop. Okay, so now you're gonna grab your caliper, put it back on the rotor. Okay, so now you're gonna just tighten down your caliper bolts to 17 millimeters. Okay, so you're also gonna have a new axle nut. You can't put the old axle nut back on. I got this from Toyota for about 15 bucks. Just put it on. We're just gonna whip it on a little bit, and then we'll tighten it down once I get the wheel back on and stuff like that. Okay, so now basically we're just gonna take the torque wrench, set it to 159 foot-pounds, which is what I already did. And there you go. This is a lot of foot-pounds. You're gonna need a pipe at the end of this wrench, so I'll make it by pipe. Just listen for the click. Hit it again. There we go. All right. After that, you're gonna torque your lug nuts down to 76 foot-pounds. I'm not gonna show you that. And then you're just gonna take the chisel and hit on the top of it. You're basically gonna get in that little bit of a divot, and that's gonna keep the wheel from falling on. So you're gonna grab your chisel, tap on it with the hammer that down a little bit. You don't need to go super crazy. And then, I mean, job well done. This played out actually excellent. So thank you. Like and subscribe for more videos. I'm gonna have more RAV4s and other vehicles as well. If you have any questions or suggestions about the next video, drop it in the comment section. Thank you very much. Job well done.